Alrighty. Hello everyone. How's it going? This is the live stream for Applied Digital Studies, Section 1. And let's see, I'm sort of looking at a bunch of things and sort of getting online kind of slowly. Looks like you've already got a couple questions posted in the live stream chat, which is great. I can answer those questions. But I'll let people kind of get people sorted and situated first. First of all, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn down the background music. There we go. So you can hear me okay. Let me know. It looks like my video and audio is a little out of sync. Probably, I mean, you may not perceive that. It might just be something that's distracting me, but it is distracting me. So let me see if I can adjust that a little bit in my streaming stuff here. Okay, good. Thanks, Pikachu's heart. Good to know that that's good. Okay, yeah, I think I've actually got the offset. I forgot to turn off the offset before when it was not offset, and then it's like, okay, so there's some confusion there, but not on your end, so you're good. Okay, cool. So people are chatting with me in both places. You can either chat in Twitch, that's fine, or Discord, that's fine. I have heard from some people that it's easier for them to chat in Twitch if they're watching the stream on their phone or some other, like a game console or something. And if you want to do it that way, that's totally fine. But I've also set up the live stream chat channel in our Discord server, which is going to show up here. And the nice thing about this is that it's embedded in the stream, and then it becomes part of the, when I upload this to YouTube later, it'll be part of that as well. and so it's a bit more permanent, but choose whichever is the most convenient for you, and that would be great. I guess I should actually turn off the music and not just mute it so that it stops posting. That music is by Chipzell, and she is a chiptunes artist and does really great work, so I've enjoyed listening to her work recently, and I thought it would be fun to share, or sort of somewhat thematically appropriate for the class to have this in here as our kind of theme music, I guess. So welcome. This is Applied Digital Studies. This is section 1. So there are 2 sections, and actually doesn't really matter to me which one you're in. Sorry, I have the wrong course pulled up here, but you can be in either section and watch either stream. That really doesn't actually matter to me. But whichever one you're in, I'm glad you're here. I'm here. I'm excited about getting started. I'm excited, but I should say I'm also very tired. I don't know if any of you took J-term classes, but I taught one, and it turns out it's really hard to teach a 15-week class in 3 weeks, and took a lot of time and energy from me to do that. But I'm almost done with that. I'm actually still finishing grading on that, but almost done. And excited to kind of slow down a bit with only 4 sections to teach over this spring semester. So this being the first day of class, mostly what I'm going to be doing today is introducing things. So that's why I've set it up as a live stream. It's easy for me to to talk to the camera, and you all can just watch and listen and learn. If you have questions, you can pose them in either Twitch or Discord, and I see a few there, and I will get to those. I'm streaming from my home here in Fredericksburg. I'll show you my home studio sometime. It's not really a studio, it's just like a corner of a room that I've commandeered. But it's a nice little setup here, and I'm standing here in a place where I can actually see outside, and so I sometimes get distracted by birds because I have several bird feeders, and I was actually trying to see, there's a downy woodpecker that I've been hoping will come back, and I thought I just saw it, but I think that's actually a cardinal. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice looking, what is that? That's not a cardinal. I don't know what that is. Maybe it is a cardinal, but I'm just looking at a different angle than I'm used to seeing. Huh, interesting. I actually do have a webcam set up on looking at one of my bird feeders, but it's the bird feeder that they never visit, and I don't know if it's because of the camera, but I'm continuing to kind of work on that stuff. So Random Brandon is noting that J-term was insane. It was a challenge. But I'm happy with it. I mean, I think the students that took my class learned a lot, or they said they did anyway. They seemed like it in looking at their material. Okay, let me take a look at, I do have a slideshow. It's not really a lecture, it's just kind of an outline to remind me of things to talk about. So I'm just gonna pull this up here, but let me first answer questions. Let's see. So a couple questions. So first of all, Pikachu's heart, you say, is it just me, or does it feel like some people are not watching? I don't know. Maybe they're watching. I've got 19 viewers according to my dashboard, and that's about what I should have. So I assume they're watching. But many of them might not be saying anything yet. But this is my invitation. If you haven't taken classes with me before in this format, I do like to request that you say hello on the stream if you don't mind. I mean, if you're uncomfortable chatting or having your words appear there, that's okay. But if not, if you don't mind, I'd like to know who's watching and hear that you're out there. So if you don't mind, say hello, and that would be great to see kind of who's out there, either in the Discord chat or the Twitch chat. Looks like many people among this group, seems like you are chatting on Twitch, a lot of you. Some of you I see are typing now in Discord, so good to see you all. What's nice about this too is it lets me have kind of a record. I can look back afterward and see who was here. And then that's kind of like attendance in the sense of just keeping track of, like, making sure people are tuning in and watching things. Are there 25 people? I don't think there are. Pikachu, I think it's like 20. Maybe there's more. I don't know. I haven't checked the roster lately, so I don't know. If you look in Canvas is supposed to combine both sections, so that's going to be like 30 something, I think. I don't know. This is an interesting experience for me. So I guess in terms of me and my relationship to you all, because I know a few of you because you took my 101, but most of you I think came from Dr. Blevin's 101 in the fall. So it's we're working it out. We're making it work here, and we're getting to know some different people. So Ashley just noted that she can't see the Twitch stream. That's interesting. It seems. Let me see if I can help. Yeah, there's the thanks, Zira. Yeah, that's the URL. I mean, it should work. It should, but if it doesn't, let me know. Yeah, so I'm just typing because if Ashley can't see the stream, she can't hear me say these things. But okay, so Ashley, it sounds like you're in now. Good to see you. I was just saying, Ashley, that I know several people in the class, but not most of the people in this particular class, but I do know you, so hello. Glad you're here. So let's see. Yeah, thanks. And again, either Twitch or Discord is good. So let me answer a question that Amber and Amber and the Alexinator asked earlier, so that I'll get that out of the way, and then I can move on to kind of my planned introduction, I guess. So they asked a question about the material in Canvas, and there's almost nothing in Canvas right now. So it's mostly that I have to go through and update all the due dates and the schedule dates and things. And so instead of like me releasing it and then saying it's there but don't really look that closely at it, I just unpublished a lot of it so that you can't see it at all, and so you won't worry about it. So it's all there. It's just some of it I'm going to be redesigning a bit, but it's mostly there, and I just wanted to make sure to give it to you like when it's really ready. And it's really not ready yet. Like I said, I taught a J-term class, and I am pretty scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of my kind of teaching energy right now. So that's forthcoming. Certainly we'll have it in much more detailed condition and much more working condition by Wednesday. But at this point, I mainly wanted to open the Canvas course so I could send you that announcement to remind you about the stream, and also so I could show you the syllabus and talk through some of the points on there. And that's really all I believe actually works currently in the syllabus in Canvas. If you do happen to find other aspects of the course in Canvas, it's probably not up to date and probably needs to be corrected. So bear with me on that. I'm working toward it. Shouldn't be too long. Thanks for saying hello, everyone. Good. Okay, so let me kind of go through my slides. These are slides that are just meant to kind of remind me of the things I wanted to talk about. This being the first day of class, my main goal is just to kind of introduce myself and introduce the class, make sure you know what you're in for this semester, and see if you have any questions or see if I can help you think about the class or feel better about the class if you're concerned or whatever it is, and hopefully we can move on pretty quickly. So I am interested in finding out who you are as well, I should say, but this format doesn't really make that easy, right? I mean, I've set up today's class for me to be the one talking, so if you don't mind, it would be great to introduce yourself in the Discord server. There's a channel called Introductions, and that would be the logical place for you to introduce yourself, so please do that if you haven't already. But let me introduce myself again. I am Zach Wayland, Dr. Zach Wayland. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Communication and Digital Studies, and I teach courses mostly in the digital studies side of those things in terms of that. I teach classes like this one. I created most of the digital studies classes. I'm the director of the minor in digital studies, also the unofficial chair of the ad hoc subcommittee of the General Education Committee supervising the digital intensive requirement. So I've been involved in that as well. This class is not actually digitally intensive, and that was, I don't think, that's because most people will, you have to take 101 first, and so I thought it would be redundant to make this one also digitally intensive. But it occurs to me maybe that would actually benefit some of you if you took 101 before it counted as DI. But I don't think I think I ran the numbers, and that was like, no one was actually in that situation. I don't know, I'll think about it later. But I was introducing myself. I teach courses in digital studies. For me, that includes things like games and culture, which is a class I just wrapped up from the J-term. I teach a class on graphic novels. I split my teaching actually between the CDS department and the English linguistics department. And of course, we all used to be one department. Well, you may not know that, but it used to be the English linguistics and communication department. But those of us teaching courses that mainly serve the communication and digital studies major, we have formed our own department now, and I'm part of that group. But I also teach courses in English. So half of my classes are English classes, but they still count as digital studies. Like the games and culture class, like a graphic novel class that I teach. I'm also teaching a class on electronic literature. And my background is I have a PhD from the University of Florida, and I studied, it's an English department there, but I did my graduate work in video game studies, and that's how I got it to work. So how I got here. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted because some people are chatting in Discord. I mean, in Twitch, asking questions about the Discord. I sent the invite in the email. I don't want to put it out here publicly. Check your box. So I'm just responding to somebody, the day cook, asking about joining the Discord. There's that email I sent. I don't want to put the invite code on the stream, so it's because I don't want like randos joining the class server. But it should be in that email, and if it's just, I don't think it's expired yet. But if it has, let me know, and I can send you a new one. So yeah, but I won't put. I'm not going to put it publicly. So. Not that I'm that worried about randos joining the class, but it can be distracting, especially because I don't know most of you. So like I would not be able to tell that, hey, that's not someone in the class. They're not supposed to be here. So it would be a little bit harder for me. Right, cool. So anything else you want to know about me? I have 4 kids, as you can probably hear. They're being silly over there. They do their schoolwork mostly like in the room right here next to me, and then when school's done and they're not doing that, they're messing around, and like watching TV room is directly above me, so often I'm distracted by their sounds. Hopefully it's not too distracting to you, but it can be a bit much for me sometimes. All right, cool. So the kids are, the question is how old are the kids? They are 12, 10, 8, and 6. It's easy to remember whenever they are, like their birthdays are spread out, so they're usually 2 years apart. It's just like sometimes in the fall, like their birthdays don't line up, so sometimes there's like 1 or 2, 1 years or so. But yeah, 12, 10, 8, and 6. And it sounds like they're messing around over there. They'll be okay. Okay, I'm glad you don't hear the ruckus. It's hold on a second. Hey. Okay, be quieter, please. Okay. Okay, be careful. You're gonna fall. All right. Don't like. Okay. All right. They're okay. Yeah, they're having fun. It's just kind of distracting fun. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the class. What is this class actually about? This is a question you may wonder. You've signed up for this class probably because it's a requirement, and probably not because you saw the title and you thought, oh, that's great, I got to get in on that. It's kind of a vague title, I think, so people don't naturally know what this means without some explanation. What is my favorite dessert? Oh man, good question. I like lemon cookies, like lemon cake, that kind of stuff. That's probably my favorite kind of thing. I don't know. That's what Firecracker 442 wanted to know. Which aspect of video game development is your favorite? I mean, the course, I don't know if you mean in terms of as a player or as someone who tries to make things, but in terms of as a player, I'm interested in things that are interesting and have some kind of mechanics and things that make me think. I play a lot of games that are not that thoughtful, but they're just kind of fun as a way to waste some time. But for my electronic literature class and for my games and culture class, we did play a lot of like pretty serious and like thoughtful, narrative-oriented kind of games. So those are the things I definitely enjoy spending time with. There's several that I'm sort of kind of slowly working my way through. What Remains of Edith Finch is the one I'm working on right now. I've just barely started it, but I'm really enjoying it. And but like for just sort of fun shooting stuff, kind of blowing things up kind of games, I've been playing Borderlands 2 a lot because that's about all my computer can handle, and it works well enough for me. I'm trying to upgrade my computer, but it turns out that it is not possible really to buy a video card. So it's extremely difficult anyway, and so I've not been able to purchase it. I need a new video card, and then if I can get a decent video card, then I'll build a new PC around that. But at this point, I'm just sort of waiting and hoping and trying to get a new video card. In fact, I just thought of something. Let me see if they're doing it again. Oh, they are. Cool. So I don't know. Sorry, I'm gonna keep talking, but I'm doing something over here in the background, which is that. So Newegg, the retailer, they've been doing this thing where they make a lottery, and so you can enter a lottery to have a chance to purchase a video card. And they've been doing it. They started it on Thursday, and I did not win the lottery, but they've done it again today, and they've actually got a lot more items now on this lottery for today. So hold on a second. Let me just get my name in here real quick. Yeah. That's great. Oh, wow. Okay. No, I don't want that. Okay. So I've put in the lottery. We'll see if I can get an RTX 3080. That's what I'm after. And it's, yeah, it's been very, very difficult. So if you are looking for an RTX 3080, go to newegg.com/product-shuffle. It's like, I don't know if they publicize this, but that's their URL for this thing. I found it on a Discord I'm on that shares stuff like this. And you just kind of check a box, and then you're like entered into this, essentially a drawing. And then if you win, then they, I guess, send you an email saying you won. You have a chance to go buy this thing. Now, I haven't won yet. And it's funny, they send you an email that says, you almost got it. But I don't know what almost means. Like, does that mean that I was one of like 5 people who didn't get it? Or am I one of, 97% of people that didn't get it? Like, it doesn't, it's funny how they try to leave you hanging and make you feel like you almost got it. There was a question about Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know much about it. I think it's, it's because it's so far beyond my computer's capabilities. I haven't really even looked that closely at it. I know that people have a lot of strong feelings about it. And I think, it's like, I think a lot of the problems people are having just out of the developer crunch and things that happen with games like this when they have a lot of hype and demand, and then they end up kind of getting rushed near the end. Question from Amber: do we need to purchase any materials or software for this class? No, you do not. Everything will be free for you. There could be some times when there might be a tool that you might need, like a software application or something that you might find useful, and you might choose to buy it, but it wouldn't be something that I would require. What do you mean UFO? So Alexander, I don't have a bad computer by any means. You have a UFO level computer? What does that mean? I'm not familiar with that term. UFO. As you're seeing, by the way, like Discord does enable various kinds of conversation, like text typing, obviously, but you can also use emoji to respond to each other, and inserting GIFs is also appropriate. So these are things that you can do, and I hope you will find useful as you get to know each other a little bit in this class. This being a class that is going to be mostly online, I'll talk about what I mean by mostly in a minute, but it's kind of challenging to think of this as having a sense of community and kind of space to talk, and Discord is what does that for this class. So I'm hoping that we will find this useful. Oh, okay, user benchmark. Okay, I'm not. These are their terminology. I'm sure that I don't have a UFO. Like I look at the images from Cyberpunk 2077 and I'm like, no way. Partly because this computer, like the CPU and the motherboard, are like 12 or 13 years old at this point. I've upgraded different parts of it over the times, but whatever. But it's working well enough to stream, but not well. Like you can probably tell, I'm streaming it at 720 and not really doing much or asking it to do much in terms of the streaming, because it just can't. If I try to show a video, for example, the whole stream might just kind of grind to a halt. That's the kind of thing that I'm hoping to improve if Newegg will give me the chance to purchase this slightly overpriced item, but slightly overpriced is still available. That means it's still available. So we'll see. I probably won't get it. All right, back to the class. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. what is this class actually about? This is Applied Digital Studies. So you've taken Digital Studies 101. That's a prerequisite for the class. So I know you took that class. I know some of you took it with me. Some of you took it with, you may have taken it with Dr. Stommel or Dr. Blevins. So you've had some experience of 101. This class is the sequel to 101, and the general theme of this sequel, or the general idea, is that it covers some of the same material, the same kind of thing certainly as 101, but whereas 101, at least the way I teach it and the way I think my colleagues teach it as well, that's a class about kind of spreading out, kind of looking at the surface of several different things, kind of understanding what's out there, and kind of finding your way across the landscape of digital studies. Digital culture, digital methodology, and digital creativity are kind of our three guiding signposts, or at least mine, and I use those terms to talk about different aspects of things that I think are defined as digital studies. For this class, we are going to continue thinking of things in that sense of having those three different aspects to them, but the idea here is that it is a little different in that having looked at several of these themes, you as the student in this class are going to design a project where you take a much deeper dive into one of those areas and you develop a large project around that. That project is, I just call it the big project, and it is a project that will occupy a significant percentage of your time this semester. But it's something that you will design and that we'll spend a lot of time planning on, and of course, I'll tell you how to do it, but it's something that ultimately has, the success of it has to do with your ideas and your commitment to it and kind of what you're interested in doing. So there's a lot of self-directed learning in this class, but that deeper dive has a lot more value if you are the one doing that dive. But again, we're still focusing on the big three here, right? Digital creativity, digital culture, digital methodologies. These are all three different areas that touch on all kinds of different things, and you will be exploring one of those in some detail, but all of these in at least a little bit of detail, I suppose. So another thing that's worth mentioning here is digital identity. And I'm going to be sending out a survey to you all later. And one of the things I want to know is kind of to get a sense of what your experience of 101 has been and kind of where you are with the different things that 101 usually does. I want to find out if you have a domain, and if not, I want to help you get one and get you set up with that, because I want to encourage you, and I will say encourage instead of require, but I really want you as a student, when you're thinking about your big project and thinking about audiences for that project and thinking about how to share your project, really the best way to do that is with your own website. And so if you don't already have a website, or if you have one and you don't know how to use it, this is something that I would also like to include in this class. Website stuff, programming stuff, anything like that where we're talking about doing digital work. This is not a computer programming class. This is not a computer science class. So when I think about any of those aspects of this class, the web part of it, the programming part of it, in all of these cases, I'm interested in understanding where you are right now and your current skill set and comfort level with these things. And then I'm interested in encouraging you to grow that skill set throughout this class and that comfort level. So I am not going to say like, here you have to have a website that does these three things, or you have to have this level of programming skill, or anything like that, as you might do in a computer science class. Instead, I'm going to say, okay, where are you now? And then where would you like to be? And then how do we get there? Like, that's what we're going to work on together as this class proceeds. So your digital identity is the place where you're going to, that's a placeholder word really for your domain. And that's what I'm going to be helping you create or think about if you haven't already. This class does involve a lot of DIY learning. And I want to explain this term because it's not just like, I'm not going to just say, okay, go teach yourself everything. I'm going to teach you things. But what I mean by this is actually a specific kind of educational philosophy, which is expressed in different ways. But I think one way to think of it is self-education. So what does education mean? If we think of education as me telling you things and now you know those things, I don't think that's really education. Like I can put a ton of things out in front of you, but it's the things that I put out there, it's the things that you pick up and take into your own understanding and into your own life. That's learning. It's the part when you pick that up. That's what learning actually is. That's the actual meaning of education. It's not the stuff I lay down in front of you. It's the stuff that you pick up. And so that's what I mean by DIY learning. And that's why for many of these projects, And the big projects certainly, but even the smaller, what I call the node projects or the module projects, a lot of them, I'm going to give you guidelines, but I'm going to really expect you to do a lot of that work yourself as far as figuring out how to work your way through it. I, of course, will give you guidance and suggestions and feedback, but a lot of the success for this class comes down to your your commitment to it, but your interest in it and your willingness to figure things out yourself. And that's going to be, it will be a challenge in some of these situations, in some of these projects. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, but I think it can be, that challenge is what makes it worth doing. And that's hard to get in, that's a hard thing to know or to understand until you've already done it, until you've kind of come through it and look at it from the other side. But trust me, that's where it will be the most valuable for you. Okay, so the overall structure for the class, in terms of the content that I kind of put out for you all, I mentioned the big project. The other kind of structural concept for the class is what I call nodes, or sometimes modules. I used to call them nodes, and Canvas uses the term module for something similar, so I've started calling them modules. It doesn't really matter, but it's a series of topics that have a kind of cluster of things around them. And those things will be things that are related to creativity. So it might be reading, playing, or watching, like reading a short story, playing a video game, watching a film or a movie or an episode of a TV show, something like that. Or it will be something cultural, some kind of intellectual engagement with that topic. Or it will be a little bit of programming to try to understand that topic at a deeper level. I'll show you what I mean, but these three signposts are really guiding each of the 4 modules or nodes that define the content for the class. So these are the 4 nodes or modules that I used when I taught this class in the fall. And I can describe and talk about some of these if you'd like, if the meaning of it is not evident from the titles of them. But I also want to open this up for your suggestions, and I'll put this into the survey that I send out later as a place for you to write something longer if you'd like. But a lot of this stuff we can, I want it to be current. It is current. Things change, things happen, things develop. There may be something going on in the world, in the digital world right now, that you're really interested in talking about or learning more about, and this might be something we could kind of put together a module around. So I'm interested in your requests, if you have any. I can say a little bit more about these. The first one is going to be understanding algorithms. Algorithms are computational processes that make decisions. And so for that one, I'm going to teach you all a little bit of programming just to make sure you see how code actually works, specifically Python. For artificial intelligence, again, there's the cultural application of that idea. It's artificial intelligence is an idea that's developed really quite richly in fiction. And so we'll look at some of that, but also I want to try to understand how to actually do it. How would you use artificial intelligence to make something? And I can show you different ways you can do that. Networks, this one is, if I had a choice to remove any one of these or switch them out for something else, the networks one might be a possible one to switch out. But the project that we ended up doing last semester with this one was a lot of fun. So I definitely want to do that project again. Students really liked it, at least some of them did, and I really liked it. So that was a project where I asked students to create a website for themselves as though it were the year 1997, roughly. I just said, make an old website, make a website that looks like it came from the Web 1.0 era. And it was really fun to actually try to figure out how to do that and look at several examples and try to understand different goals for why a website should exist. And it was a lot of fun. Anyway, and then finally, interactive design. That was mainly how to actually make your website accessible, make it work, make sure your project is accessible and designed well in terms of interactivity. And that one was much more kind of practically oriented. That's very, skimming the surface. Obviously, there's a ton more detail in all of these. Do you have, you can go ahead and suggest this right now in the chat if you want. Do you have any topics? Are there any other topics that you're just dying to know more about or expecting to know more about in this class that you'd like for me to cover or build some content around? I'm going to take a sip of my seltzer. If not, that's okay. But, put it out there. Or are there topics from 101? You remember the modules, if you did the modules from 101, are there any of those modules that you'd like to go into some more? Okay, so if you want to do video games digital animation, that's what Ashley D just said in the Discord. That might be a great thing to look into for your big project. I've certainly had students do that for their big project. So the interesting thing then will be, if you decide for your big project, I want to make a video game, like what is that game going to be about? And that would be, you would kind of build the project around like thinking of that idea and understanding what that should be for, and like what kind of point does the video game have, and like there's a whole conversation. But yeah, that sounds doable. But that might be something to do for your big project, or if there's enough interest, maybe it could be a module that everyone does. So the point is the class has some flexibility built into it, and that's how it is. Okay, let's see if I had any more. Oh yeah, I do have a couple more things I want to say. And this class is supposed to be done soon, right? How long is? No, not well. We have a few minutes. Okay, so Random Brandon on Twitch just mentioned another one. So game design, but also cybersecurity. I think that's another interesting one. And so Pikachu, you're saying we go to 2:30. So that sounds right. Yeah, because then the next one is at 2:50. Right. These time bands are still. I'm still not used to these new time bands, but we're doing fine as far as time. Then I think. Yeah. So creating digital animation, absolutely. When we get to that part of the semester, what I'll do is kind of help you come up with a set of goals and think about it. Because, for example, like, do you want to do like Blender, that type of animation? If so, like, there's probably like a YouTube series or a free online course you can find that's like how to use Blender. And so that when you design your big project, you would include kind of like, I'm going to complete this online course that I found as part of your big project. These big projects essentially become independent studies by the end of the semester. So that's the kind of thing that really you could do just about anything as long as it has a reasonable connection to the class, and that can be stretched a lot. So yeah, cool. All right, let me say a couple more things here on the slide that I have up here. Today, obviously, I'm live streaming. I would like to have a Zoom conference on Wednesday, and that's a chance for us to see each other face to face, virtually face to face. Since again, I don't know most of you, and it would be helpful for me to start putting names and faces and voices together a little bit, even though some of you may remain entirely virtual to me as far as the class goes. I think it would be good. It'd be easier for you all to ask questions and discuss different ideas. So I want to do that on this coming Wednesday. I'll schedule it via Canvas, so it should send you a link with the invitation code and the password. I assume you are familiar with how Zoom works at this point and how it can be used. I don't plan on using Zoom much at all in this class other than Wednesday. That might be the only time, honestly, but I think it will be useful at this early stage when we are kind of getting to know each other to have that face-to-face conversation at least once. But most of the time, it will be me streaming like this or us meeting in person. Or doing other kind of structured activity in Discord. That's something else that we can do without video necessarily. Okay, so let me see. If you have any other questions or suggestions, feel free to add them in Discord or Twitch. But I want to show you a couple points in the syllabus, and also actually just kind of want to review the syllabus to make sure there's nothing I need to change or update about it. I think it's pretty accurate, but let's see. There's a bit here about the teaching philosophy. I mentioned this already a bit, but again, these are a few different quotes here that say different versions of the same thing, which have to do with the idea that you're teaching yourself really, or that your learning is an active process that you are doing. It's not something that I do for you. Like, I don't make you learn these things. You choose to learn these things, and you enact learning these things by doing the work and doing the thought and following the guidelines that I set up, hopefully. But ultimately, it's your course. Like, you're setting your course for this class. So these are the things that I hope you'll learn, and these are the things that guide all of the different activities I've put together, but also that hopefully will guide your big project. And then at the end of the class, I'll ask you to reflect on how well you've done these things, or how well you think your learning has accomplished these outcomes or these goals for you. So I want you to think about contemporary culture, contemporary digital culture. That can mean a lot of different things. It could mean people being creative right now with digital media, like video games or art or animation. It could also just mean like the difference and the changing. Honestly, it is a changing landscape of social media right now. How do we feel about it? How do we understand that and put that in context? Those are the kinds of things that I hope you're able to think about by the end of this class and have a bit more, have something to say about it by the end of the class. I do want you to work with computer programming. This is not a programming class per se, but I will be giving you assignments and activities where I'm asking you to program. I say that with some pauses because I know some people are intimidated by that, and I know it can be a lot. I'm here to support you and help you do these things. I'm not expecting you to be a brilliant programmer by the end of the class. I just want you to understand some of the terminology, and also I want you to be able to say that you've moved your learning forward, that you started with something wherever that is, but you've been able to take that somewhere else, maybe the next level, or maybe just a little bit further along, but it's something that you are going to kind of be in charge of in terms of how far along you progress. And when I create the modules that have this kind of component in them, they're built in a way that you kind of get to choose your own adventure. Still hard to explain, but you'll be able to kind of decide on a difficulty level, if that makes sense, and then do different activities based on that. So, but I do want you working with programming. I think it's an essential part of the digital world. It's really what is the it's the fundamental landscape of all the stuff that we're doing. So I think we need to understand it, and that's what I hope happens in this class. You're also going to be doing this digital project, and it's a big thing, and so a big part of it is the planning and the management. Like, it's kind of setting goals for yourself, determining what resources you need, how much time you need, sticking to that schedule or not, but trying to follow that schedule, trying to get back on schedule, give it off that schedule. I mean, it's really a planning project more so than the actual digital part of it. So that's something that I hope that you take away, a skill that you take away from this class, really. And then finally, I want you to understand and think about audience. Ultimately, these projects are all going to have some element of an audience to them, or some kind of rhetorical component. I was just checking out one of my bird feeders is swinging like crazy, and I was afraid it was a squirrel, but it was actually a blue jay just sort of crashing into it for some reason. So anyway, those are the goals for the class. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, please ask. But these are the nodes, and these are, as you see here, actually, I did mention the 4 that I did last time. Let me go back to that slide. But in this list here where I say these topics may include, these are some other things that could show up. So race and technology, toxic fandom, algorithmic oppression. These are kind of built into the algorithms one, actually. Facial recognition, surveillance capitalism, digital disinformation. But this could also include other things like cybersecurity, as Brandon mentioned. Like, this is not a whole cybersecurity course, but I think like personal cyber infrastructure, like keeping that secure, I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. It's an important thing to know. You don't have to get into complex cryptography or anything to do that, but just kind of knowing about privacy and stuff like that. That's a useful thing that might show up here. Okay, so in terms of this, the couple other things to mention in the syllabus here, grading scale. I'll be grading things with a check, check plus, or check minus. This is my minimalist scale that I like to use. It just lets me say you're on the right track or not. And so if you are missing something, it's a check minus. If you got everything there that I asked for, it's a check. If you went above and beyond, it's a check plus. And it's simple and minimal. It helps me get the grades out quickly, hopefully, and not kind of worry about or haggle over points or a rubric or anything like that. It's just me get you that feedback quickly. And then I like to do video feedback for grading, so which makes sense, especially if your projects are visual. Like if you've got like a website, it's pretty easy for me to record a video of myself commenting on it and like looking at different parts of it. So I like to do that even for written work because it lets me, I can talk about your writing and hopefully a way that communicates its strengths and weaknesses as needed. Okay, so the policies and expectations part of the class, these are the policies. Much of this is kind of boilerplate, but I've written it sort of like an FAQ. So hopefully these are answers to questions that you have. If you have other questions, let me know. I think I need to update a couple of these phone numbers and names, but yeah, I'll have to double check that later. But that's pretty much correct. Just a couple of points down here in the recording and the COVID-19 part. I'm recording this anyway, so you know, anything that's on Twitch, you're welcome to record yourself or highlight. You can do the highlight thing on Twitch if you like it. That's fine. The only thing I'd ask you not to record or publish outside of the class is anything that we do like in Zoom or that we do just in Discord, because those are spaces that are not entirely public. I mean, they're public in the sense that you can see each other's faces and content, but it's not public to the rest of the world. So that stuff needs to stay internal to our class. So please don't record or edit or share clips from our Zoom conference. I will record it. It'll be available in Canvas for you to access that recording, but it's just meant for you to access it. It's not meant for you to share. Same with Discord. Don't share any, like even the identity of other people in the class through our Discord. That's something that, that I want you to have control over. So if you contribute comments to this chat that appears above me right now, that's part of the stream that goes public, but everything else in Discord should be considered like internal to the class. So please don't invite other people to our Discord. I think I've disabled that, but don't do that. And also don't like share out anything someone shares with if it's meant to be just for us, let's keep it just for us. That's all I mean by that. Okay, so one final thing, and it's related to Amber's question here. When I do have in-person lectures, will I also stream it on Twitch for those that opt to stay home? Probably not. Probably what will happen, and let me explain what I think is going to happen. I'm going to send out a survey, and that survey will ask me about your availability and your interest in in-person classes. This is a hybrid class, so it will have some in-person components. It will have online components, and those online components can be both synchronous or asynchronous. Meaning, like, you can watch this live like you might be right now, or you might be watching this later, and that would be asynchronous. All of those options are valid. All of those will let you complete the course. What might happen on an in-person day is that I won't rule it out. I might stream from the classroom. I have found that kind of awkward to do, so I probably won't. What I might do instead is have an activity or a conversation, like a discussion that I have with the people that are there in person, and then the people that are online that day would be having a similar conversation on their own using the voice channels in Discord or just a text channel in Discord. So it won't be like they're missing my lecture. They will just be talking to each other. Likewise, the in-person people will be talking to each other there, but I will be there too. That's the kind of thing that I did last year, and I think it went pretty well. But how that works exactly will depend on how many I have in each of those groups. And for me to determine that, I need to send you the survey. I need to get your feedback on that. So if it turns out that like almost all of you want to be face-to-face, that's great. But I won't be able to get all of you in the classroom at the same time because of the capacity limit on the classroom. If only a handful of you want to meet face-to-face, then we could probably get together. But then I want to make sure that the rest of the class is doing things that are that's supporting their learning online, and I might not always be able to do that, set that up in a way that they can do that without me. So I have to kind of figure out what the right balance is between in-person and online based on availability. But I know many of you do want to be in person. I know many of you cannot be in person. So we can try that. So Amber's suggesting, having in person but having Zoom for people that are online. I did it a couple times. I found it challenging though, just for me to split my attention between the people that were in different places. So, and also like part of me thinks too, like, what is the point of, if I'm lecturing to a camera, what is the point of there being people in the room while I'm doing that? You might as well all be virtual, So I don't know. These are things that we're still trying to figure out the best way to do, even after we've been doing this for almost a year now. But a lot of it really just has to do with what you want and kind of what the distribution of different preferences are within this section. Okay, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up. We're about to 2:30, but I'll of course be online. I'm doing this again. The same class has two sections. I'll do section 2 at I guess 2:50 is when that one starts. So I guess you're welcome to watch both of them, but it'll be the same introduction to the class on both of those. And the material is still kind of forthcoming and rolling out in Canvas. I'll have an update for you on that on Wednesday. Otherwise, just keep an eye out for that survey because it'll be important for me to help start figuring out, what kind of options I need to provide for everybody. Okay, so this lecture will be archived. It'll be on Twitch pretty quickly, but it's also going to be on YouTube. Twitch will keep these videos up for 2 weeks and then delete them. So I will download this from Twitch and upload it to YouTube so you can access it there later if you need to. But mostly this was just kind of a casual kind of introduction to the class anyway. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the stream, but I'll be online for a bit if you have any more questions. And in fact, I'll be back online lecturing again in 20 minutes. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out there. If you do have other questions, of course, you can send me an email or a DM in Discord. I am incredibly busy today, so I might not be able to get back to you until tomorrow, but I will try. I have one more class to teach, and then I have all the grading from the winter class to finish, and lots and lots of emails to respond to. So anyway, I'm very busy, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in Zoom on Wednesday. Oh, I just noticed I'm looking at the Discord chat up here as it appears on the stream. It's like not making a big enough box for all your words to fit in. That's awkward. I'll see what I can do about that. Anyway, see you Wednesday on Zoom, and thanks for watching. Bye.